So first off, you'll need to create an Integromat account, entering your name, email, and creating a password, as well as selecting your country. You can also check off the box below to receive newsletters from Integromat. After completing the sign-up, you will see a green box confirming the creation of your account. You'll receive an email after sign-up, which you will need to click in order to verify ownership of the email. As you can see, we've received ours in our inbox, but remember to check your spam or unwanted folder. Just open the email and click the big Verify My Email Address button. We're now ready to sign in and will once again see a green box on the page, which confirms our verification and informs us that we are now able to sign in. So enter the email you used at the sign-up in the first box and the password you chose into the second box. When you log into Integromat, the first thing you will see is your dashboard, where you can see the number of operations that you have run within the last month. Depending on the type of Integromat account you have, the number of operations available may vary. A free account is able to perform 1,000 operations or transfer 100 megabytes of data. Whichever one you reach first will be the limiting factor. You can send multiple messages in one go, but keep in mind that each SMS accounts for one operation, which I will show later in the video. So let's go to the Scenario tab on the left side of the screen. Click the Create a New Scenario button in the top right hand corner. You will then be taken to a site where you can add the services you want to integrate, which is just a fancy way of saying which services you want to chain together. In our case, we'd like to send SMS via Google Sheets, so let's find those. Search for Gateway API in the search field and click the circular icon when you have found it. It adds a check mark when selected. Then you search for Google Sheets and select that as well. After selecting both, hit the Continue button in the top right hand corner. Now you're ready to create your first scenario, and as you can see, we have the Gateway API and the Google Sheet icons at the bottom of our screen under Favorites. Follow the instructions on the screen and click the big question mark in the center of your screen. We can then choose which service to start with, and for the sake of convenience, we will start with Google Sheets. Click on Google Sheets, and then scroll down until you find the Searches section, and select Search Rows. After Google Sheets has been added, it will open a new box in which you need to create a connection. Click on Add, and when the connection box opens up, click Continue. This will open up a new window for you to connect your Integromat account to your Google account. Choose the appropriate account and allow the connection between your Google account and Integromat. Integromat will then verify the connection. This here is the reason why your Google account and Integromat need to be connected. For Integromat to search through a Google Sheet, it will first ask for permission. As you can see, we have the option to choose a spreadsheet. Before choosing a spreadsheet, it might be a good idea to actually have one, so let's create a spreadsheet. We'll just create a blank one, as it takes virtually no time to create the sheet we need for us to start sending SMSs. The first thing we want to do is to create what we call headers. These will let Integromat know what kind of information is listed in what particular column. The bare minimum for sending an SMS will be message, which is the actual message we want to send, MSISDN, which is just a nerdy way of saying the recipient or recipient's phone number. And lastly, we want to define a sender, so who sent this message to the recipient. Please note that the sender cannot be more than 15 digits or 11 alphanumeric characters, which is just another way of saying letters and numbers, like John 55. Now that the headers have been written, let's get to the actual testing to make sure that we set up the sheet correctly. You can enter whatever you like, but keep in mind that while a message can be virtually endless, it will count as one SMS per 153 characters. You can enter 160 characters in one SMS, but in order to show the message as one long continuous message, it will need the space for the last 7 characters to link the message to the next one. Thus, you end up with 153 characters instead of 160. Next, we'll be using one of our test numbers. You can enter your own if you want to, but for the sake of the video, we've chosen to use the test number instead. We then define the sender, in this case using name Integromat. Be aware that if you choose a brand name such as Google or Apple, your account will be suspended unless you're able to provide the needed documentation to prove that you're affiliated with the company. So please use your own company name or number when sending your SMS. Let's just write a couple more examples to show you some different results. The shortcode in the middle here is a Danish national number, which can only receive messages from a Danish phone, so it should return as undeliverable when we check to see if the SMS has been received, as we're sending from an application and not a phone. We will just rename the sheet for convenience sake, as it does not have any effect in practice. Let's make sure the sheet is properly added to our Google account. Great. And the information should have been saved as well. Now let's head back to the Integromat scenario. Click the looping arrows to update the information available. And now we can select our spreadsheet. We didn't create any additional sheets, so we just have to pick sheet 1. As mentioned, We created some headers, so make sure the table contains headers is set to yes. The default column range should be wide enough. If you're wondering what it means, it's just to limit or expand the amount of columns that our information can be found in. We only use column A, B, and C, so the default should be more than enough. Next, we get to the filter section, which we will use to tell Integromat when to include a result from the spreadsheet. Our spreadsheet is mostly empty, so let's just make a simple filter for it to run through. The order in which you pick the headers are not that important, but let's just pick them in alphabetical order as it looks more neat. We don't need the message to be something exact, which is what equal to means in this context. So go ahead and click on the text saying equal to and select exists in the dropdown. This means that it will include the cell from our sheet if it has anything in it. We then click the add and rule, which means our message has to have something written in it, and we also need a number to receive the SMS, and there must be a sender name or number. If we miss either one of these three parts, the SMS will not be included, so you don't risk sending an empty message to no number from nobody. And let's set the maximum to 1000 rows. We do this just to make sure we don't exceed our number of operations on our free account. That's it for the spreadsheet. So now we just need to connect it to our Gateway API service. We can either click the plus sign next to the Google Sheet service or click on the Gateway API sign under favorites. As the goal of this video is to have you send your first SMS with the help of Integromat, let's click the send an SMS message. Just like Google Sheets, the Gateway API service will need a connection. So let's create an account at GatewayAPI.com. We enter our email and then head to our inbox. As mentioned earlier, you will sometimes need to check your spam or unwanted folder. This email has not received anything from Gateway API before, so it was caught in the spam filter. Open the email and copy the verification code. Go back to the Gateway API website and enter it manually or just paste it. Create your password and press the Create New Account button. When you first log on to your Gateway API account, you'll be met by the mandatory terms and conditions. You'll need to read through the terms and conditions before being able to agree. I'm just a fast reader. Next up, you'll be asked whether you control any personal information or have personal information sent through your account. If you're still testing, then you can postpone this part. Just press the circle of stars in the top left-hand corner when you want to fill in the information. It's important to note that if you're going to send any links in your SMS, you'll need to request for them to be whitelisted first. This is to prevent spam and phishing, which we have written an article on. Feel free to read up on our articles as they explain a lot of the initiatives we take. As you can see, we don't currently have any credit, but contact our support through the chat in the bottom right hand corner or via email, and we will add some courtesy credit for testing purposes. We now have some credit to test with, and since we postponed the data protection question, it will prompt us to complete it again. I didn't check the box in the whitelisting information, so it will also open unless I check the Do Not Show Again box. Let's go down to our API section and click on the API keys. You'll already have a key available, so just click on the Get Key/Token button. In this case, what we need is the token. You don't need to understand these terms, but it's just a username and password combined to let Integromat know that it is you sending the SMS. At least that's the simple explanation. Copy the token and head back to Integromat. Click on Add and paste it into the API token box in Integromat. Hit Continue and you're now able to pair the columns from the sheet with the Gateway API service. Pair sender with sender, message with message, and lastly pair recipients with MSISDN, and that's it. Gateway API will now know which columns contain the needed information. Hit OK and we're done. Now just press the play button saying run once. We have now sent 3 SMS, so let's see if they were delivered. Under the traffic log on our Gateway API account, we can see if the SMS were delivered. As expected, they were all processed within seconds and were delivered, as mentioned previously. The shortcode cannot receive SMS from anything but a Danish phone and phone number, so it worked as intended. Let us know if you need help with anything or have any questions in general, and any constructive feedback is more than welcome. Thank you for watching our guide on sending SMS through a Google Sheet with the help of Integromat.